Please start. Start, Dr. Awais, please.
Please start your presentation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today the topic of discussion is research methodology. The quote of the day is nobody else has thought in qualitative search. And the learning outcomes are, by the end of this presentation, participants will be able to describe the introduction to research, scientific terms, quantitative and qualitative research. The research methodology is an investigation undertaken in order to discover new facts or to get additional information. Introduction to research. Research is a systematic quest for undiscovered truth. Research is an innovative way of thinking. Research is the way to solve the problems, to decrease the human suffering and improve knowledge. In this diagram, as it is shown for the introduction to research, that in identifying a general or initial idea and then reconcilize or fact finding and then planning and then take first action step and then evaluate it and then amend plans and then take the second action step. In scientific terms, research is a systematic, data-based, critical and scientific inquiry into a specific problem, undertaken with the objective of finding answers or solutions to it. Main ingredients of research are curiosity to know more, objectivity, positivity of purpose, precision and validity, honesty and rigor, reproducibility, reliability, logical reasoning, simplicity in explanation. And the types are basic research and applied research. In basic research, when some new knowledge or technology is generated to deal with the health problems, and in applied research, it is necessary to identify the priority problems and to design and evaluate policies and programs that will deliver and the greatest health benefits, making optimal use of available resources and knowledge. Now the research cycle. To achieve health for all, necessary planning requires detailed and accurate information, situation analysis regarding needs, priorities, resources, options, effectiveness, sustainability, and impact. And in the research cycle, identify the research area, design the research study, and then carry out research, and then analyze the research results, and then public research result. The terms used in research are quantitative research and qualitative research. In quantitative research, it is used to determine the relationship between variables or explore differences between two or more groups. It involves the collection and analysis of objective data, often in numerical form. Research designs and methods are determined prior to the start of data collection and are not flexible. Quantitative research is generally made using scientific methods, which can include the formulation of hypotheses, theories, and models, the development of tools and methods of measurement, experimental control and manipulation, collection and analysis of data, and the modeling and interpretation of data. Quantitative research emphasizes the use of scientific method through observation to empirically test hypotheses, explaining and predicting what, where, why, how, and when phenomena occurred. Comte believed only scientific methods rather than previous spiritual explanations for human behavior could advance. The theories are put forward in qualitative research and they can be tested before and after applications through quantitative research. The literature search. First of all, there is idea and then collect information, build vocabulary, and then refine the topics. In this included are reference tool. It can be collected from the reference tools, websites, from the primary sources, media, articles, and the books. Biostatistics in quantitative research. Quantitative research using statistical methods start with the collection of data based on the hypothesis or theory. Big sample of data is collected. It requires verification, validation, and recording before analysis can take place. The software mostly used are SPSS and SS. For this purpose, causal relationships are studied by the manipulating factors thought to influence the phenomena of interest while controlling other variables relevant to the experimental outcomes. Quantitatively based opinion surveys are widely used in public health awareness with statistics. In opinion surveys, respondents are asked a set of structured questions and their responses are tabulated. In the field of science, researchers compile and compare statistics. Empirical relationships or associations are also frequently studied by using some form of general linear model, non-linear model, or by using factor analysis. A fundamental principle in quantitative research is that correlation does not imply causation. Role of measurements. Measurements in quantitative research are of two types: deterministic measurements or probabilistic measurements. Measurements is often regarded as a mean by which observations are expressed numerically in order to investigate causal relations or associations. However, it has been argued that measurements often plays a more important role in quantitative research. Quantitative research may involve the use of proxies as stand-ins for the quantities that cannot be directly measured. For example, tree width is considered as a reliable proxy of ambient environmental conditions such as warmth of growing seasons or amount of rainfall. Although scientists cannot directly measure the temperature of past years, tree width and other climate proxies has been used to provide a semi-quantitative record of average temperature in the northern hemisphere back to 1000 AD. When used in this way, the proxy record, such as trailing width, only reconstructed a certain amount of the variance of the original record. The proxy may be calibrated, for example, during the period of the instrumental record to determine how much variation is captured, including whether both short or long-term variation is revealed. In case of trailing width, different species in different places may show more or less sensitivity to rainfall or temperature. When reconstructing a temperature record, there is considerable skill in selecting proxies that are well correlated with the desired variable. In mixed method research, the majority tendency throughout the history of social science is to use approaches by combining both methods. The qualitative methods might be used to understand the meaning of conclusions produced by quantitative methods. Using quantitative methods, it is possible to give precise and testable expression to qualitative ideas. This combination of qualitative and quantitative data gathering is often referred as mixed method research. The examples of quantitative research are prevalence of polycystic ovary disease in adolescent females. Survey that concludes that the average patient has to wait 2 hours in the waiting room of a doctor before being examined. An experiment in which group X was given 2 tablets of a drug a day and group Y was given 2 tablets of placebo a day, where each participant is randomly assigned to one or other of the groups. The numerical factors such as 2 tablets, percentage of elements, and the time of drug intake, duration of treatment, days in the hospital make the result quantitative. Qualitative research. Qualitative research is carried out by different methods, including the interviews, focus groups, discussions, observations, and reflection field notes, various texts, pictures, and other materials. Qualitative research explore ideas, myths, culture influences, geographical diversities, and etc. Characteristics of qualitative research: diversity in research design, researcher roles, and data gathering techniques. Require the use of rigorous systemic scientific processes. Data, usually in the form of words rather than numbers, are detailed, often including description and direct quotations. Small number of purposefully selected participants or causes. It is used to explore behaviors, moral values, attitudes, opinions, feelings, and social relationships of individuals. It is concerned with the individual's perceptions of specific topics, issues, or situations, and the meaning they assign to their lives. Important for theory generation, policy development, improving educational practice, justifying change, or a particular practice, and illuminating social issues. The results are descriptive rather than predictive. Qualitative research often categorizes data into patterns as the primary basis for organizing and reporting results. Qualitative proposal outline. It includes the rational data collection, data analysis, trustworthiness, participants. Qualitative subsections of proposal. Qualitative researchers typically rely on the following methods for gathering information that are participant observation, non-participant observation, field notes, reflexive journals, structured interview, semi-structured interview, unstructured interview, analysis of documents and materials, and review of historical records. Participant observation. In participant observation, it is a strategy of reflexive learning, not a single method of observing. In participant observation, researchers become members of culture, group or setting, and adopt rules to conform to that setting. The aim is for the researcher to gain a close insight into the culture practices, motivations, and emotions. The researcher's ability to understand the experiences of the culture may be inhibited if they observe without participating. For example, in pediatrician advised kangaroo care for children after qualitative research in medicine. The obtained data is streamlined to a definitive theme or pattern. Further work on an alternative research hypothesis is generated, which finally provides the basis of the research statement. This will provide real insight in advantages, disadvantages, acceptance, or rejection of new technologies in community settings. The focus group techniques involves a moderator facilitating a small group discussion between selected individuals on a particular topic. This is particularly popular method in qualitative research and testing new initiatives with user and workers. It needs assessment plan for important parts of qualitative research. Here is a systematic diagram of quantitative research. In this, there is a planning for participants and then identifying, informing, and developing rational, and then data collection procedure, and then focus on groups, and then observation, then interview and discussions, and then data analysis, and then the trustworthiness. In field that study households, a much debated topic is whether interviews should be conducted individually or collectively, for example, as couple interviews or family interviews. One traditional and specialized form of qualitative research is called cognitive testing or pilot testing, which is used in the development of quantitative survey items. Survey items are piloted on study participants to test the reliability and validity of items. The qualitative research basic qualitative terminology such visual methods and photography, and no their details are described. In basic qualitative research, it involves using an eclectical approach taken up to best match the research question at hand. Here is a systematic diagram showing the scholarly research cycle. The first step is the background, that where do you or want to go, and then is the planning. In it included is the research question and topic, and then is finding your way, that includes searching and sources, and then evaluating. For example, what did you find, and then putting it all together, that includes writing and citing, and then a reflection, that where do you want to go next, and then the cycle repeats again. And then the ethnographic research. This method is also called ethnomethodology or methodology of the people. The example included in it is that the study of a particular culture and their understanding of the role of particular disease in their cultural framework. For example, spread of syphilis among young adults in Congo and its psychosocial effects on their lives. And then is the grounded theory. In it, it is an inductive type of research based in the observations or data from which it was developed. It uses a variety of data sources, including quantitative data, review of records, interviews, observations, and surveys. And then is the phenomenology. It describes the subjective reality of an event as perceived by the study of population. It is the study of phenomena. And then is the philosophical research. It is conducted by field experts within the boundaries of specific field of study or profession, the best qualified individual in any field of study to use an intellectual analysis in order to clarify definitions, identify ethics, or make a value judgment concerning an issue in their field of study, their lives. And then is the critical social research. It is used by a researcher to understand how people communicate and develop symbolic meanings. And then the ethical inquiry. It is an intellectual analysis of ethical problems. It includes the study of ethics as related to obligation, rights, duty, right and wrong choices, and others. And then the foundational research. In it, examines the foundations for a science, analyze the beliefs, and develops ways to specify how a knowledge base should change in light to a new information. And then is the historical research. It allows one to discuss past and present events in the context of present condition and allow to reflect and provide possible answers to current issues and problems. Historical research helps us in answering questions such as where have we come from, where are we, who are we know, and where are we going. And then the visual methods and photography for data collection, including photo, voice, photo elicitation, collage, drawing, and mapping have been used extensively as a participatory qualitative and to make their familiar strange. The visual methods of research and research cycle are explained in this diagram. This includes the ideas and then the research questions and then proposal writing and then the research processes and then the publication or other it use other pathway which is after research processes, institutional review board, and then the registration of the clinical trials, and then the data collection, and then the data analysis and audit, and then the publication. Now come towards the MCQ session. First MCQ is, our research is conducted in a city to know the spread of hepatitis infection in young adults and its psychosocial effects on their lives. Which research approach is used? Basic qualitative research, ethnographic, grounded theory, critical social theory, or foundational research? Ethnography.
B.
Which research approach is used when it is conducted by field experts within the boundaries of a specific field? Basic qualitative research, grounded theory,
C.
philosophical research. G.
C.
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 Philosophical research, it is philosophical. Qualitative research typically rely on which of the following methods for gathering information? Field notes, reflexive journal, structured interviews, participant observation, or all of the above?
C.
C.
The combination of qualitative and quantitative data gathering is referred as data collection,
D.
data analysis.
D.
D.
Mixed
D.
research method.
Okay, and here are the references.
Thank you very much, Dr. West, for a very nice presentation. However, there are a few things that I want to clear. As you have told us about certain research designs, it is very important to know that the qualitative research, the research design is very important. When we know very little about the topic and we don't have a lot of literature to review, we usually go for grounded theory. Grounded theory, the whole evidence, it is embedded, and we have to search for it and to come up with the evidence. And as the research proceeds, we come up with certain important information that would lead us to our questions, and from those questions we come to the next question, and this goes on. However, ethnography, as you have explained, that it is the study in one's own environment. I would like you to please have some light. What is the difference between the classical ethnography and the ethnographic studies? Would you please shed some light on this? Dr. Awais? Dr. Wes, are you with me? Actually, in ethnography, as it is a study in one's own environment, we know that there is a classical ethnographic study where the people, they are usually those researchers who went to some other place that is far off from their place of residence, and they start living in that area and start observing the people around them. We have two very important discoveries in our medical sciences that come up through ethnography. Would anybody want to elaborate on it? Dr. S, please unmute your mic and tell me more about the important discoveries that have occurred due to ethnographic studies. Right, please.
Madam, the example is that if a disease spreads in a community and we research about do a survey about its effects on their societies.
One of the very important finding of ethnography comes through the studies where the researcher leave their houses and start living in another's culture or in another's area. We know that the kangaroo care, that is, I have already discussed this in detail with my postgraduate students, that the kangaroo care, it is one of a very important care that is provided by the parents or families to their children. And we know that the kangaroo care provides a very good bonding between the person and the child, as well as it is important for the small date babies and those who are born before time, low birth weight babies. What is kangaroo care? A person who was an ethnographer, who was a researcher, he lived with certain tribes, and he found that the babies, they were in the lap of their mothers, and they tied them with their bodies. And it was a very strange idea that if a child or a baby that has been bonded with the mother, or it has been tied up with the family member like father or anyone else, those children are having the kangaroo care, just like a kangaroo who is having the child in his or her pocket. Similarly, the child of a person or a human being can also be taken care of by binding or tying with the family member. So from that, he started the kangaroo care. And now we know in medical sciences that the most of the survival of low birth weight babies and small for date babies is through skin to skin care. And what is that skin to skin care? Actually, mother is having the baby on her skin, and then she tied it or having a cover on the baby, so that the baby is tightly closed to her skin, and the skin of the baby and the skin of the mother, they are remained in contact as long as possible, preferably for 24 hours a day, and for 7 days a week, but as much as it can be. If the mother is very ill or she can't tie her baby with herself, then even the father or another family member can provide skin to skin care. It has been documented, there is a lot of evidence that this type of care, it decreases the infant mortality, neonatal mortality, especially perinatal mortality. And it is also have been documented that the deaths in the incubators or the neonatal mortality due to the incubators is much more as compared to skin care. So the skin to skin care has decreased the mortality, and it is one of the very important observation that comes from the kangaroo care. Similarly, we have another very important finding through an ethnographer. I have shared it in your postgraduate group, and that is about Ubuntu. Has everybody has been through that Ubuntu? Would you please like to tell me more about Ubuntu? Anybody from the class? Because this is an open discussion, anybody can share their own ideas, because we all know research is either the finding of new facts or addition in the already known facts. So you can all add up into this discussion.
Ma'am, I would like to say something about Ubuntu.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Ubuntu is a modern open source operating system on Linux for enterprise service, desktop, clouds, and lots. And Ubuntu is actually a open source software, and it is released in 3 editions, and we use it on desktops and servers and cores of internets of things and devices. And this is you basically a software that we can use for our purpose, for our research purpose, and it's a new type of open source operating system.
Thank you very much, Amber, for a wonderful input. We know that the ethnographers, they were living with African tribe. I have told you that there is a type of ethnography that is called classical ethnography, where a researcher leaves his house and start living in some far off place, and with the new culture, and start studying it. And they become the part of that culture. They are not being declared as the observers or researchers, but they are declared as the part of that culture. So one of the ethnographer, they live with African tribe. What he did there, he placed a basket that was full of fruits, and he asked the children who were living with the tribe where he was living, that the child who would reach this basket first, he would get all those fruits that are present in that basket. And then he blowed a whistle, all the children start running. Walking together, and reached the basket. They all reached at the same time, no matter whether they were younger children or they were older children. Some of them can some of them can run very fast, and some of them can run very slow. But what they have done, they hold each other's hand, and due to holding of each other's hand, all of them reached at the same time near that basket. He asked them why you did that. They answered Ubuntu. And from that, we have coined the term Ubuntu, and that is now being used in the softwares for research. Ubuntu is also a very good software. What is meant by this term Ubuntu? Ubuntu means that how we can be happy if the rest are not happy or the rest are miserable. It is just like if someone is having a bad accident, how can the other people enjoy their different occasions? So Ubuntu is means I because of we. So as a student, you can even think of having each other's sport as students. So their happiness, or the secret of their happiness of that tribe, was in we, W-E, we, rather than in I. So this is how that word has coined, and it has been used in several different research as well as in software. So it is again a very beautiful story of classical ethnography. The ethnography is different from phenomenology. What is the main difference? As I have told you, in ethnography, one become the part of another's environment, and they start living with them, or they start cohabitating with them, or they start having the same experiences with them, and they become the part of their culture, their tribe, their livelihood, and then they start having those observations. And in phenomenology, it is quite different. It is the researcher They start observing a phenomena, and the analysis is being done by the researcher. It is not necessary that the researcher start living with those people. It is not necessary that the researcher is going to leave his place and start living or cohabitating some other's area. It is the study of that phenomena that is being done by the person. For example, if I give you a scenario where a student, he might not be the postgraduate student, but I introduce you to a student ABC, and I told, and if your supervisor is introducing that student as one of your classmates, and he started taking your classes and going through the same experiences and started behaving like a student. So, do you think it is ethnography or phenomenology?
Ethnography.
Yes, it is ethnography because the person who has been introduced as a student, he has been with you and he is observing and he is experiencing each and everything. Even if there is some test, he has to sit for that test. If there is some good occasion or there is some celebration, he is the part of that celebration. If there is some miserable condition, he is the part of that miserable condition. For example, if your supervisor start giving you some teaching lessons, he has to attend that teaching lessons too, and he will not go by his own schedule. He would follow the schedule, and he start living and he behaving just like the student of King Edward Medical University. So this is ethnography. However, if someone who is outside from this department and he comes and start observing how many classes are being conducted, who and even he start listening to our classes, as we are having all our classes online, and online classes are open access. Anybody from anywhere, from any department can access them, and he start analyzing that what good things are about these classes, and what are the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and what further can be done about it, then he is doing phenomenology. There is another very important aspect, as Dr. Wes has covered, is about ethical inquiries. We know that in qualitative research, there is a very strong questions of ethics that has to be addressed before starting the qualitative research. So in different inquiries, we have to go. Dr. West, would you like to add something about it?
Madam, in ethical inquiry, we include the ethics of the study, such as obligations, their rights, their choices, and their duties.
Very nice. In ethical inquiries, we start studying about the different ethical phenomena that has been involved, and we have to take certain interviews. And after having all those things in hand, that perhaps there would be some element of coercion, or there be some hidden threat that is being involved, and only the ethical inquiry would help us to find out what is the exact situation and how it has been dealt, or it has been perceived by the persons who are in that ethical inquiry. If you can you give me any example of this, for example, for proportionality and the in the context of conflicts, how the ethical inquiry that can help us in correct conduct and framing the correct questions, and to come up with some good solutions, and to know about the virtue of different people who are the one of the uh, who are one of those who are getting the harm or beneficence as the consequences of those actions. Would you please like to elaborate it further?
Madam, I will like to give an example that in our villages, it is a myth that on the wounds, if we apply the chilies, they will get rid of the infection. They will get rid them of infections. that are absolutely wrong, as it is proved by the researches.
So what is wrong about it?
Madam, the applying of chilies and other unhygienic foods or stuffs, they think that they will get rid of the infections. That are absolutely wrong. Rather, they have to apply the antiseptic solutions or the antibiotics on the wounds.
What we have seen, most of the ethical inquiries are for the research, especially on the end of life settings, and especially on something that is not very clear and can come in neglect. As we know that when a person is having no prognosis of any disease, still if a lot of medicines are being given to them, and if there is a lot of cost that has been involved in it, and someone like if some institution or some hospital is getting benefit from a miserable condition of a person, and they know that the prognosis is not good, then the truth should prevail, and they should give them the true picture of prognosis and end of life care and palliative care, so that they can have a better understanding of what are the different cost benefit analysis that are involved, and what would be the progression of the disease. So most of the ethical inquiry examples that are concerned with those diseases that are for end of life or that have a very poor prognosis. Similarly, when we are talking about scaffolding and reflective processes, again, if I ask you people to reflect on all those experiences that you have as students in class, there are certain ethical inquiry bridges that would gap that scaffolding and reflective processes, and would help us to better understand what are the students' experiences in these situations. However, when we are doing research on some thing that is about drug studies, about placebos, and about others, we always look for the ethical inquiries so that the confidentiality and the personal information of any person that cannot be guessed and that cannot be leaked out even. So the ethical inquiry is again a very important type of research. The third one, we have talked about grounded theory, we have talked about phenomenology, ethnography, ethical inquiry, and still we have a lot more to say about exploratory type of research and the case studies. So the exploratory research, when very little is known about something, and the researcher, they explore that situation more and more and gives us the details so that the further questions and hypotheses can be built